The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair, from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. So call Two Eagles Auto Body and ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527.
Okay. Okay, we'll just do that for now.
Hi, I'm Danny Bonaducci, and you are watching Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something, or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes. This is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony and Sally on the Knockem Dead radio show. They're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Hello, Tony. Mookie Wilson here, 1986 Mets. How you doing? Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, that Knockem Dead Comedy Radio, man. I miss you. I wish I was still up there, man. But I'll wait till it warms up a little bit, and hopefully this year things will be a little bit better, man. But when we're talking about comedy, hey, the early years of Mets was a lot to laugh about. You had to make a lot of comedy off those guys. Hey, hope to see you guys during the summer, and hopefully get back on the show, man, at some point in time during the course of the year, all right? All right? Yeah, fine. Contact me, man. All right, Tony. Talk to you later.
Hi, everybody. It is Thursday. It's November 10th. Welcome to the Knockem Dead Comedy Podcast, coming at you live on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast Twitch channel. What do you know about Twitch?
Nothing.
Oh. All right, good talk. Bye. Bobby Donohue is here. We're going to have some laughs today. Please, right above my head there, please subscribe to this channel. Like
I'm
it.
looking behind.
Did you actually really look? Most people
You
look as a joke.
pointed.
Well, because the people, everybody can see it
I
if
didn't
they're
know
watching.
where you were going with that, so I'm like, what's behind his head?
Boo! Most people do it, but they're joking when they do it. So that's what I thought you were doing.
Please subscribe.
Subscribe to the Twitch channel. Thank you for supporting the Twitch channel. I don't know if that's all you have to do is subscribe. I don't think there's thumbs up or anything like that you have to do. I don't know. We're still new to Twitch. We're still trying to figure it out, but we're glad you're here. And you can share the link. That's what you can do. Share the link and tell everybody you know about all the great shows here. Although this is the only one that we have on Twitch right now. But share the link to this anyway, and share the YouTube channel link.
Are those behind your head too?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying hi to everybody on Twitch right now. Hi. Knockers. Bam.
Do I have anything behind my head?
You have a television screen behind your head.
No.
But it's really there. It's not a graphic.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
really there. You just have your head.
Okay.
So,
That's good.
well, yeah, that's always a good
That's
thing.
always a good thing.
Yep. So happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
Your birthday, today's the 10th. So your birthday was a week ago yesterday.
No.
Yes.
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 I was answering the week ago for it.
You're still wrong either
I'm
way.
too far ahead of you today. You're pointing behind your head, and I'm jumping on that without you finishing your sentence. And you said a week ago, and I was like no to that, and then you added yesterday. It was a week ago. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, so you were saying no, and you were about to say it was a week ago yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm
Because there wasn't really a pause there. I said the whole thing in one sentence.
Yeah, I know, but my brain is just that.
Your brain
fast.
just,
Yeah.
oh.
It's a curse and a blessing.
I'm going more with the curse part. And it probably gets you in trouble at home a lot. That's my guess.
Never. Can you just let me finish what I'm going to say and then respond? Has never been a sentence mentioned in my house. Never.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Hi, honey.
How is she?
She's great.
Yeah, she is great.
She's always great.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. That'll...
See, I don't have to wait for the rest of the questions to say she's great.
Yep.
But it's true. She is great.
And that is some good thinking on your part, because
Yes.
that keeps you out of the doghouse and to actually tell the world, because the
Yeah.
world is watching.
It is.
Tell the world how great she is. That
My
guarantees you. Yeah.
My wife is amazing. I love my wife. You know that.
I do know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just actually had our 25th wedding anniversary.
Oh.
A month ago yesterday.
Seriously?
No, a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations.
The 25th of October. But it's funny because that's not really the day we celebrate as our anniversary. We celebrate the day we met.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah. So, well, I do. I have to remind her when our anniversaries are. She's like, "Oh yeah,
Even the wedding anniversary?
yeah,
Really?
Yeah, we have that opposite relationship where I'm the one who remembers the dates and she's the one who goes, "Oh my God, that's right, I forgot."
Wow.
And not because she doesn't care, just that
No, I'm
we
going
don't-
with she
we don't
doesn't
make
care.
a big deal about those things, But we met on August 8th, and that's the day that in my brain is the anniversary.
Okay.
The other one is just the day we were able to get the church for the wedding.
Right. Where did you meet?
We met at a fraternity party when in college I was in a fraternity, and one of the guys had it was called a steak party. Everybody would go to his house in the summer in August, and he would barbecue steaks all day.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was really great. Those were great parties.
Does he still do that? Can we go?
I don't know.
Who is
And,
this guy? What's his name?
His name is Dave.
Dave.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And hi, Dave. So he's probably not listening, but he might be.
You never know.
You just don't know. Anyway, so Dave had this party, and now I went to a school. It was an engineering school. It was really small.
Yes.
It was like 96% guys. there were a few girls that went there.
And it was probably about 96 guys. Like, that's how small this place was.
Yeah, I think my freshman class was 400 people.
Oh, was it that many?
Yeah, and there were about 11 girls in the class.
Wow.
So I don't know what that actual percentage is. It's I'm close. Anyway, it's so she was not one of them. But the guy in my fraternity had a younger sister, and Laura was friends with the younger sister, and they used to come to parties. And I met her at this one particular party, and it turned out that she had been coming to these things for like a year or two, and we never met.
Oh, that's weird.
We didn't even know the other one existed, and then we found out that we were both at this Islanders game at the same day, and we were both at this other party one time. And we were both, but I had a girlfriend before I met her, and I just didn't see her, you know?
Oh, wow.
And, yeah.
But she saw you, and she was like...
No, she didn't see me either, but probably for different reasons. And,
yeah, probably.
And anyway, that day, we both saw each other.
That's a good day. You
Yeah.
meet a hottie like that, and you're having steaks all day.
Yeah.
It really doesn't get much better.
No, that was probably the highlight of life.
A baseball game and maybe some Van Halen in the background would have made it the perfect day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my friend asked me, because I spent the whole party with her. We just talked. We went for a walk. We sat and talked. And a bunch of my other friends were all drunk, and they were teasing me, like, because I asked her what her name was. And they're like, "You don't know Laura? Everybody knows Laura." Because apparently they all knew her. Everybody in my fraternity knew her.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I think they all wanted to date her. But I did. And so we spent the whole, and then my friend on the way home from that party asked me, "So, you think she's the one?" And I was like, "I don't know. Well, I guess she was."
Just met her. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But, yeah. That's weird that he would, like, college guys don't normally, or college age guys don't normally ask those types of
Yeah, I
questions.
don't know. He never asked me that about anybody else.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I never really met anybody else.
And then how many years later did you get married?
We got married 5 years later.
Okay.
And a couple months.
So 25 years. So that's 97?
Yep.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So I'm trying to think when I met her. It was either, I think, 94 or 95 when I met her. I think.
My wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew her when we were dating? Well, no, because...
I met her when you were dating,
Oh,
yes.
you met her. Okay. Yeah, because...
We were not in steady touch at the time.
No. For very good reasons. That we're going to discuss today. No, I'm kidding. We just weren't. And we just didn't know where the other one lived, I guess. You remember how we hooked up again? You saw my dad in jury duty.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Right. And then, yeah, that was 90... Oh, yeah, that was 90, I think, 98?
Eight or nine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
yeah, I do remember that. But I remember it was either 94 or 95 when we were camping.
oh yeah,
That's when I met her for the first time.
We just saw each other that one night. We didn't.
Right, but I
stay
still
in
met
touch
her.
after that.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if we stayed in touch. I still met her. That's the point of what I'm trying to say.
That we didn't stay.
Well, everybody has reasons to not stay in touch with me. I get it. I get it. But yeah, that was when I met her. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot that the jury duty was when.
Well, I exposed her to you that early on.
Yeah, but you guys were drunk.
Oh.
You were both drunk.
So she probably doesn't remember.
Right. And she tries to remember all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and again, totally understandable.
Wait, we were drunk at a camping trip? That's unusual.
Why?
No.
Oh, you're being sarcastic. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it was, we were up in Narrowsburg, New York, which is on the Delaware.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the Delaware, and all of a sudden here comes John Kelly, who I graduated high school with. I'm like, holy crap,
He was
John
in my
Kelly.
fraternity. Yeah.
Right. And he knew that, I think, I had seen him, I had still bumped into him from time to time back then, because, that's just before all of us had kids and moved on with our lives.
Yeah.
So I would still bump into him from time to time. So he knew that we were friends. He knew that you and I were close. So when I saw him in the Delaware, I was like, holy shit, John, what? and we just got to. We're both just in the water. We're talking, and then we were saying goodbye. But all of a sudden he stopped. He goes, "Oh, Bobby Donohue's here with me."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" But then, for whatever reason, I didn't see you because we were in the water. It was still daytime. It wasn't until that night that I found where he was on the camp. We were in the same, not only camping in the same town, but in the same campground.
In the same campground, yeah.
And for
In
whatever
fact, we were sharing a tent and we didn't even realize.
we were sharing Laura. No, sorry. That's why people don't stay in touch with me.
Now we know why.
There was. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember because you were drunk, but there was this big bonfire going on. I mean, this thing was like.
Yeah, that was probably our bonfire.
No, you weren't that good. This thing was like a good 12 feet high, man.
They used to build good ones.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You had nothing to do with that.
No,
Your
not
friends.
me, my
right.
friends. The engineers who knew how to do those kinds
There
of
you
things.
go.
I was the artist going to engineering school.
So you were just taking the pictures
I'm an
of
engineer.
But yeah, so I remember that night. It was that's when I made my way over and found John and then found you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were pretty drunk. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You said you came over and said hi to me, but you didn't realize who it was.
No, that's right. I think I remember that.
Really? Yeah.
Wait, here's how I remember it. I think somebody said, Tony's over there. And I went over there. But by the time I got over there, I forgot why I was over there. So then I saw you, and I was like, Tony.
No, but you actually said hi to me first.
Oh.
You went, oh, hi. And I knew immediately. I was like, he has no idea. And I was like, but then you were like, oh, wait a minute.
It took a minute to sink in who you were.
Right.
Yeah, I remember having seen you that night.
Right.
And now that you say there was surprise, I remember a feeling of surprise. But that could have also been a feeling of, how the fuck do I get out of this?
What the hell is he doing
What
here?
is going on here?
John, you bastard, you brought him over here?
John, what, you know the rules. You don't tell Hicksville people that I'm here.
Well, and to make it worse, I had Joe Murphy with me.
Yeah. That's not worse.
No, that's not worse at all. We used to go up there a lot, actually, to that campground.
We went every year.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, every year.
Oh, wow.
They might still do it. I have no idea.
Who was there? Just a few years ago, I think it was Joe Murphy, had actually camped up there with his son. He had something going on up there in that area, so he said to his son, "Oh, I know this campground," and he sent me a photo.
Yeah,
it looked exactly the same, maybe a little cleaner actually, because the place was kind of dumpy, but it was
that
fun.
Place was gross.
It was fun. Like that, like the target demographic were college kids who just didn't care.
Yeah, yeah, but see, I was never one of them. I was one that cared.
I only cared about the bathrooms.
Team hotel room.
No, I love camping.
We would get a tent, and I had to have an air mattress. I had to have electricity, and it had to be in proximity.
Electricity in a tent.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't remember why. But there needed to be maybe not in the tent, but there needed to be electricity in the vicinity.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And if possible, no roots under the ground. Like, I was a baby about this.
Oh well, yeah, that's understandable because roots underneath are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, or the back, or the head.
Yeah,
or everything.
yeah.
And I've never really enjoyed camping. I enjoyed being there with my friends and drinking and hanging out, and that was fun.
Yeah.
Then it was, now we're going to bed, and it's like, seriously, I gotta go in the.
I loved it. Unless it rained, then it blew chunks.
Oh, there was one year that it rained, and I was sharing a tent with a buddy of mine, and one of us, not me, accidentally left the zipper open.
Oh.
And when we went to go to bed that night, the tent had like an inch of water in it.
Oh, that sucks. That's when you just go in the car.
I did.
Yep.
I slept in my car, and when I woke up in the morning, my neck, I was in pain. I couldn't turn my head the whole day. That's the only time it's ever happened to me in my entire life. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, okay, I'm just like this now for the rest of my life. This is me. Hi.
Yep.
And it got better, but a week ago, yesterday, it finally got some movement back. And Yeah, so that was like a core memory of my life, sitting in that car.
Yeah, I bet. No, I used to love that stuff. Unless, excuse me, the first tent I ever got, because again, I started camping with my buddies at like 19 or whatever. So you would just, when we didn't have any money, we were just enjoying life. Bought what they call was a 2-man tent, but basically, like your feet were practically sticking out of this thing. It was so tiny. But when it rained, I mean, the slightest touch, and it would all just come right through because this tent was nothing special. And that was the worst. And I do remember 1 or 2 weekends being up there when it just downpoured the whole time. You're like, oh, this sucks.
That's more like a bag over your head than a tent.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Which some people have requested.
I always lucked out with the tents. I never got my own tent, but I either like got in with somebody who had a good tent, and there was a year or 2 years that I borrowed a tent from friends of ours that were like big campers, and they were like, "Here, take this tent," and it was like a family tent,
right? Well, that's what I eventually graduated to. Yeah,
and in fact, then Laura started coming with me, so we would get our own tent together, and I brought that one, and it was enough. I mean, it wasn't like the size of this room, but maybe like a third of this room. You know?
That's
really there was a front porch room.
Yep, I had
where
that.
We had all our clothes and stuff like that, and then
Right.
the room where you went, and we were just like, "This is cool."
Yeah,
You know?
I got one that had the front porch thing and 2 rooms.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, I don't know how he got it, but he had an army tent, like mesh.
Yeah.
These things were sturdy and nothing came through.
Right.
And it was warm.
Yep.
And it was big. It was almost the size of this studio. It was huge.
Yeah. Well, that's why we wanted electricity. People had heaters.
Yeah,
It
but
was cold.
Yeah, but the tents. If a good tent keeps the heat in.
Yeah.
But I used to love all that stuff, and then barbecuing all day and hanging out.
Yeah.
We used to have a group of us that used to go up there for camping, but we used to camp on weekends right here in Bethpage, just so we can hang out and because we were too young for the bars and clubs, so we had no place to go. So we would go to Bethpage, and I think it's still like $15 a night. It was nothing. So we would get like 2 or 3 sites next to each other, so we'd have a lot of room. And we would camp, but we were nice and local. So a lot of us had, worked on Saturdays. So we would just go off on Saturdays, do our own thing, come back at night. So we were there Friday nights, we were there Saturday nights. Sunday we'd stay all day, and we'd even pay a little extra to stay later. Or after a while, they knew us, so they didn't give a shit. They're like, yeah, you stay till 5. And then so Sunday evenings we would go. But we would do that every weekend for like a year or 2. We did that. It was the best.
Where
Loved
is
it.
this?
Bethpage.
Bethpage.
Bethpage is a town right over here.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a campground in Bethpage. Battle Row, it's called. It's over by the old Bethpage Restoration Village. It's walking distance from that.
Yeah, I don't know where anything is.
Well, that's why I mentioned the old Restoration Village.
I
I
don't
figured
know where that is.
you know of it though, yes?
I guess. I don't know.
That's the old time village, like Little House on the Prairie type stuff, and people go there and they get tours and they get like little history lessons.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Oh, all
I
right.
don't
That's
know
what I
where it
asked.
is. Yeah.
Oh, all right.
No, I meant I don't know where it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What? All right. So you've lived on Long Island your whole life, pretty much your whole life.
Yeah.
What places do you know to get to? Because you're right. Every time I mention something, you're like, dude, I have no idea where
I have
that
no
is.
idea where that. I don't know where anything is.
You don't know where anything is?
No.
How'd you get here today?
Well, the LIE is easy.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, and now I have GPS, so that makes life really easy. What was not easy was when I was a firefighter in Patchogue, because I didn't know where anything was 3 blocks away from my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you had guys in the fire department who like grew up in this town.
Right. Yeah.
And they knew where everything was because it was by, old man McCarthy's house.
Right. Right.
Remember the tree you had? Just turn where that tree used to be. I mean, literally, I was a firefighter there. And in our town, which is unlike most towns on Long Island because it's volunteer here. Most towns, you have to, if there's an alarm, you have to report to the firehouse, get in your gear, you get on the truck, and you go.
Right.
Right. In Patchogue, because it was an incorporated village and they were allowed to do their own thing, it was as soon as the alarm gets called, the trucks are out the door, and everybody who's a volunteer firefighter is allowed to just take their own car to the alarm.
Oh.
So if you weren't at the firehouse in like a minute, you were not getting on a truck. So you had to so sometimes I had no idea where this thing was. But if I got to the firehouse too late, I would just hang out and get credit for going to the alarm, but I missed the truck, and that was that. And then a lot of times I'd see cars going all over the place, and I just zip in behind them and follow them because I had no idea where anything was. And this was the town that I lived in,
right?
Except I lived on the northern border of the town,
right?
And the town went all the way down to the water on the south shore of the island, and I knew none of the streets, none of the anything down there. There was no reason for me to go there. I'd leave my house and get on Sunrise Highway a block away and go where I was going.
Right.
And that was it, But, the local things in the town, couldn't tell you where anything was.
How did Mrs. Smith die? Well, we were waiting for the truck when her house was on fire. Bobby was driving on the other side of town looking at a map. Wow. Now, so how do you get your gear?
I had it in the car.
Oh, you can keep your gear in your car.
Yeah. I'd have it in the car.
But see, that still doesn't make sense to me because you get to the firehouse, you grab your gear, you get on the truck, and then as one guy is driving, you're putting your gear on, right?
Yeah.
So now you're wasting more time getting the gear on first than driving, or driving and.
Well, no, I said that wrong because a lot of volunteer places will get in the truck with their gear and put it on in the truck while the truck is en route.
Right.
That's not optimal for me because that requires a lot of dexterity and flexibility that I lack. And getting dressed in a moving vehicle with three other guys, it's just like I can't get the goddamn boot on. You know what I mean? And usually I'd have to wait till we got there and the truck was stationary, and then I could put it on. I just couldn't.
So you didn't really move up to captain or anything like that, did you?
Nah, they wanted me to though.
Oh,
I was
really?
being groomed for that.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I could tell early on, and now I'm going to sound really conceited. Let's not talk about that. There's no way for me to tell this story without, wow, that guy thinks who he is. But I think that I got in with the. You know what it was is that in volunteer there were a lot of people who just didn't want to do it. It wasn't like FDNY where it's your job,
right?
And you get promoted and now you get a pay raise and this is what you wanted to be when you grew up and stuff like that. This is guys who are volunteering their time, and a lot of times they don't want to do the officer stuff.
Right.
A lot of them do, and it's great.
Oh, sure.
And if you do, and it's awesome. I think it's really wonderful the people that do it. I didn't go in it because I wanted to be the chief or anything like that. It was after
to fight
9/11.
fires.
No, it was after 9/11, and it was something that I always wanted to have done since I was a kid. I was really into firefighters when I was a kid.
You were.
And then after 9/11, I was like, I should just do this. Now's the time. If I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it later. So I went and I joined up, and they kept asking me if I was afraid of heights. And, the chief asked me, "Are you afraid of heights?" I was like, "No." He said, "Okay, we need people for the ladder company, the one where the truck goes up and the ladder goes up and down." And then another guy asked me if I was afraid of heights, and then another guy asked me if I was afraid of heights, and then finally I was just like, "Why does everybody keep asking me if I'm afraid of heights? Nobody asks me if I'm afraid of fire."
Yeah,
and the guy looks at me and he's like, "Dude, we're all afraid of fire. If you're not afraid of fire, get the hell out of here. Nobody wants you here if you're not afraid of fire." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, that makes sense."
Yeah.
What they needed was somebody who could handle moving the truck, the bucket, because when you're in the bucket and you're trying to move it from way up high in the air, it's very difficult to see what's around you. It's hard to know that there's a wire behind you or a branch underneath you, and it's easy to crash that thing into things, because you just can't see.
But that's interesting to me because I'm a retired lineman and I used to go on those buckets and I used to go high up to work, and that's all they taught you because you don't want to run into an electric wire, you don't want to hit a branch, so I would think even more so as a fireman, you learn how to be aware of your surroundings.
Well, you are. it's not that they don't teach you to be aware of your surroundings. It's just that it's not always an optimal condition. So, for example, being a lineman, you park your truck next to the thing, right? If you can see that, there's a branch there, you might be able to inspect everything before you go up. You can kind of tell, well, I know that I'm next to this, and I know that the wires are running this way, and so you already know kind of where everything is before you're going up there. It's probably daytime.
Not always.
Not always, okay, but right, granted, you might have to go up there under different circumstances. The problem with the fire truck is that we had to get onto a roof of a house. So we weren't parked next to the house. We were parked on the street, and it had to get across the yard, past trees that you really couldn't see sometimes in the day. The light of the fire was casting weird shadows against everything, plus all the lights and everything, and just the noise. And man, I gotta tell you, being at a fire scene is hectic.
Yeah,
it's really, really hectic, and it gets your adrenaline pumping, and it's easy to just oversee something. So we always had a guy at the bottom. The thing would go like this. This is a visual, so sorry if you're just listening. But at the bottom where it pivoted on the truck, you had a guy standing there, and that was my job. I got trained to do that. My job was to guide this thing from the ground because I could see everything, and I didn't have my adrenaline pumping because I wasn't in there. You know what I mean?
But that confuses me even more, actually, because if I'm the guy in there and I'm like getting set to do whatever I got to do, I'm going to grab Granny out of the window and now I'm going to go grab her, but then all of a sudden you move me left.
No, I wouldn't move them when they were doing something. We're talking about just getting them into position.
All right.
And if they're trying to get to a thing, like I'm not going to be able to get them up against the window from the ground.
Right. Oh, okay. So
that.
okay.
I'm getting them over to the house past the wires.
All right. Let's take this call. Let's see what this is about. Hey, you're live on the air. Who's this? Hello.
They're waiting for me to put my headphones on.
You there? Hello. All right. They hung up. All right. Nice talking to you.
Now, for any firefighters listening, it is something I should add is that I was only a firefighter for like 3 years. So there might be people listening to me, and I'm trying to get the story out in a minute. so they might be being like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? So I would never say like I was some professional or anything like that. I was still in training. It was a brand new truck, but they needed somebody who could be at the bottom to make sure that thing got there safely.
I've heard you're a bottom. I've heard that.
Yeah. Reason number 2. By the end of this, it will be very clear.
There'll be 10 to 15 reasons.
Why my ongoing joke in life is I can't get rid of this guy.
All right.
Moving on.
I have, all right, I got some fun stuff to talk about, but there is one topic that I wanted to bring up. Actually, maybe more than one. Where was something? Oh, yeah.
Do you actually prepare for this show?
No, it doesn't usually look like it, but I do. Oh, yeah, that's. I get up at 7, in between 6:30 and 7.
I know that you prepare for this
and
show.
Yeah, that's immediately before I'm even out of bed, I start looking around. What can I talk about?
Yeah.
I got to promote the other shows, which a lot of times especially at that time in the morning, because there's a show on at 9. He's on 5 days a week. I probably usually 2 days a week I forget to promote anything or post anything. Don't forget, Coffee with the Dog is on at 9 a.m. I just forget. But but when I do get up, that's usually one of the first things I do. I promote his show. I promote my show. I look for stuff to talk about. I'm going from the second I get up until 1 o'clock. I mean, it's just nonstop. And then at 1 o'clock, I'm like, but then the phone starts ringing and other things are going on. So it's a hectic world in here.
Yeah.
But there were a couple things I wanted to talk to you about. So I'm going to get the serious stuff done first and then go to the fun stuff.
Okay.
Hi. Oh, she didn't see me. Very busy here today. I don't know what's going on out there. So we had Election Day the other day.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not looking to get into politics. You used to be heavily political.
I can easily go right back in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So do you still follow it closely?
No.
Okay.
Closely, I probably know more than most people, but I don't follow it as closely as I did. And
Right.
I think the thing is that I become a little more unconditional about it. If my people win, I'm happy. But if my people don't win, I don't make it a reason to be unhappy. I just decide that that we need a little more time to realize how crappy they are, so that people start voting again. But I think people realized it and came out this time.
And that's all right. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to talk about either side. I didn't want to talk about any
I can't
particular
talk about
candidate.
this without being a little political. So if you don't want it to get political,
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Because it does. I don't know if it's an age thing. I don't know if it's social media. I don't know if it's both. But I'm just. I mean, most of us get sick at all the campaigning and how much money goes into campaigning.
Yeah.
In fact, somebody posted the other day. We can't. We can't give universal health care, but candidates can spend almost $1 billion each on
Yeah.
campaigning.
Yeah.
Which I agree with 100%.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that so do Democrats. Democrats would put that to an end in 5 minutes
True.
if you let them.
Yeah.
If you voted for them, they would make a rule that says no more money in campaigns
Yeah.
because that's what people want.
Yeah.
But people don't vote for it, and then they complain that there's too much money in campaign. You got to vote. If you don't vote,
Well,
you
right.
don't get a say in it.
Absolutely right.
That's the bottom line.
Absolutely right. And that's my thing.
And already,
And that's always my opinion. Just you want to have a voice, you go vote.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But I can't stand the aftermath. If your guy didn't win, so be it. Like, I don't know. To me, it just feels, maybe because of social media, maybe because there's so many channels, it just seems worse when somebody doesn't win. The bitching and moaning that goes on when that person doesn't win. And all the political arguing that goes on. That I do think is an age thing. As we get older, for whatever reason, I guess we were more worried about where our money's going and what's happening in the world. But the arguments that go on, to me, it's just mind-boggling. I've been saying for a long time, just keep scrolling. You don't like it, just keep scrolling. The time and energy that it takes to get mad and to then, I'll show him. Yeah. I'll show.
Oh, I don't do any of that.
I think we all used to, right in the beginning of social media. But I haven't done that stuff in years. I don't bother. I just can't. I can't
either.
But the complaining that goes on afterwards. You know what? Either, like you just said, wait for everybody to find out that this guy or girl is worse than you thought, or just chalk it up to, okay, well, I just had my turn with so-and-so. You have your turn with your guy, and let's see what happens. 3, all right, your guy got in. How do I work with this guy? How do I make this work? But nobody thinks that way anymore. Nobody respects the office anymore.
Yeah.
And and the fact that you have to be one or the other. Like, you can't say, well, I agree with, I'll just use Biden as an example because he's the current president. But, you can agree with Biden on one topic. But if there's something else, another subject that you disagree with him on, you're not allowed to disagree because you're a member and he's Democratic. So you're part of the Democratic Party. So you have to just blindly follow every single thing they believe in. Yeah. And the same with, I'm not singling out Democrats, the Republicans too. You have to blindly stay with the party instead of going topic by topic. Because neither side is right or wrong about everything.
Yeah.
Nobody works together anymore. And then all the bitching that goes on afterwards makes it shut up. Just shut up. Thoughts? Bobby Donohue.
I think that the problem that you're describing comes from the belief that that life is a zero-sum game. That there's a certain pie, to use a pie metaphor, and if you get a piece of that pie, then that's less pie for me to get, And so that belief, that way of seeing life, I hit the microphone, that way of seeing life makes it so that we
Then like this.
nobody's gonna know what you're talking
I know. I'm just,
makes it so that we behave that way, but it would be very easy for me to be like, well, I think Republicans are more like that than Democrats, but I'm not even going to go there because I even on
both sides are
even
to a fault, regardless
let's
how
let's
even.
just rip apart the party that I know we're both into, which is the Democrats, because I know even especially here in New York State, right? You have a Democratic Party that doesn't want to hear from progressives, and pretty much is. I was just reading something about them, and I'm not like an expert on this. I don't follow this like every day. This isn't my life, but it was something that I read, and I can kind of see that it made sense in what I just saw happen here, that they're more interested in not electing progressives than they are in not electing Republicans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because of that, the Republicans pretty much swept Long Island the other day,
Right.
And then I think that you get weird narratives that people are get upset about. Like people who voted for Republicans on Long Island, I don't think that they're bad people.
Right.
I
Of
think
course.
that they're people who really care about their kids.
Right.
They're sincerely worried about crime.
Right.
And they're sincerely worried about the things that they're worried about. I just think that they're not anything to worry about. Because I think that they're made up to get them riled up, to worry about them.
Right.
Because that's how I see it. Now, if they don't see it that way, I'm not going to be like, well, then you should be dead or in prison or something like that. Like, I'll have a conversation with somebody about that. I don't know that you'll sway me, but I'm really curious to hear, like, what the thought process is.
And that's the key right there. There's no communication, and it's not about swaying. It's you feel this way, I feel this way. That is why we're in this country. That is what this country is based on, the democracy of it all, that we're allowed to have our own opinions. The problem is there's no compromise anymore. There's no let's sit down and talk and figure something out. Everybody feels they have to sway each other.
You can't have compromise in a two-party system, because once you have compromise, then nobody at the next election can be like, well, they're better than these ones. Then it becomes about the people again. It becomes about the individual candidates again. Does anybody vote for candidates anymore? You just go right across your party line. I couldn't even tell you anything about the woman who just ran for Congress in my district. All I knew is that she had a D next to her name and not an R. She got the thing.
But that's exactly my point. It should be individual. It shouldn't be.
But there's no point in individuality anymore, especially not on the federal level. There's absolutely no point, because it's not designed that way. They have to, and here's where I'm going to be a little harder on the Republican side than the Democratic side.
It's all right.
Because I really believe that the Democrats are more of a conglomerate of people with different beliefs and different ways of doing things. I think that the Democratic Party is what the entire thing should be. That there are conservative sides of the Democratic Party and progressive sides, and then there's middle of the road. That's what the country looks like. The Republican Party is just, we want power, and we will make up any bullshit to get people riled up and worried about crap that doesn't exist. And the border thing, right? Remember the caravans? Remember the caravans coming up the southern? Where the hell did they go? Did they just decide one day, well, the election's over, I guess we'll turn around and go home? No, it never existed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And especially things like, my daughter is in college. This was her first election voting. And then you get the issues that are just the big thing. I understand when religious people say abortion is murder. I get it. I totally understand why you think you're killing babies. I totally get that. I respect that belief.
Right.
Guess what? I don't share that belief. I don't share your religion. And I have the right to have my own belief. Now, I do not have the right to go around aborting your babies. You do not have the right to tell me what I have to believe.
But all right, so that's a perfect example of working together and compromising, because there are plenty of people. I hear you, and I'm not.
Especially because this affects my daughter tremendously. She could not wait to vote this first time, and she's going to school in New York, and she lives in this world of LGBTQ and all of it.
Oh, absolutely. My son too just graduated. This past June, and yeah, that everybody he knows, from school, or most of the people he knows,
Yeah.
they're LGBTQ, they're trans, whatever it is. He's totally in that world,
Yeah.
and I'm not disagreeing with anything you said. But my point is just about the compromise.
Okay.
You take something like, because the very religious people would say you're killing babies, and that's it. Or you're saying no, but they have the right to do it. Their body, their choice.
Right.
But you could still possibly say, well, abortion. There are plenty of people who are just being careless, and maybe abortion shouldn't be for that reason. If you get raped, or if there's a health issue going on, then maybe you can say it's okay to abort. Just yesterday, I was at a deli getting some lunch with my son, and there's a guy who cut me online, by the way. So I've started going to this deli in Hicksville.
Oh, line cutters are even worse.
I've been going to this deli in Hicksville. About 3 weeks ago, same guy cut me in line.
Really?
And then he cut me yesterday. And I even turned to my son, that guy. And I was getting mad. And then the lady behind the counter said, let me get their order. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I said, good for you. Fuck it. No, I just like, no problem. But same guy. So he gets his order. He's paying. And he must be a regular there. So the girl behind the counter says, I don't remember his name. How you been there, Schlubby? I don't know why I picked that name. So so he starts going off. Well, not too good. My daughter, she's pregnant. She's all excited about the baby, but she found out the baby has Down syndrome, so they terminated. Oh, Schlubby, I'm so sorry to hear that. And he pays and he leaves. I'm sorry, but that's not something I personally feel is a reason to terminate the baby. I come from a special needs world. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of high functioning. There's plenty of great things about being in that world. There's a lot of great memories. I couldn't even imagine if someone said to me, in 1999, hey, your baby looks like is going to have, she's autistic, high functioning, but if you couldn't tell
right
in the womb, looks like she's going to have some disabilities, and we don't know how bad this could be. So, I can't even imagine terminating. I can't imagine my world now without my daughter.
Right.
And it's, of course, you have hopes, and of course, I have fears because when I'm gone or whatnot. But still, can't imagine my life without her, and I can't imagine. I don't wish her to be different. And I personally just don't see that as that to me shouldn't be a reason to terminate a baby. If you're 11 years old and you were raped, sure. If there's some kind of health risk, and you have to kind of decide the mother or the baby, that's a tough one. And right now I would say save the mother. Tomorrow I might say save the baby. I don't know, but in my opinion, there are ways there can be circumstances where you can come to a compromise. You know what? I don't agree that you might be saying it is a good way if you're going to be promiscuous and you're going to have sex regularly and get 3 abortions a year. That's fine. But you still might concede that to work together with the Republican to come up with a decent law that'll make most people okay.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying? I know that was a long.
No, it made a lot of sense.
You don't see it that way?
No, I don't.
Really?
But I'm happy
when it comes to that topic or anything.
When it comes to a lot of things, but we'll stick to that topic.
Okay.
All right. So my answer to a couple of things you just said would be, you don't see that as a reason because they're telling you that this child is going to have problems, whether it be Down syndrome or some other thing.
Right.
Then I would say that you have every right to have that kid.
Right.
Right. But because my religious beliefs don't tell me that life begins at birth, then I'm not terminating a life. So the anti-abortion people who are pro-life or think that life begins at birth, they're not saying, hey, let's just make a list of all the reasons people would have and we'll pick some that go in our column and some that go in your column. They're saying none.
Oh, right.
And they will not stop fighting until it's none.
Right.
And so at that point, there's no longer an ability to compromise.
So
When you have one side that is going nuclear and will not listen to any fallback position at all.
Right. So we're basically
Then
saying
you can't say that neither side will compromise, because both sides have been Roe v. Wade was a compromise for 50 years, and we were very happy to live with it.
Right.
You know, and there's nobody, I think, on the pro-choice side who is going, let's just kill every baby. Nobody is killing babies, first of all, because nobody believes that they're babies. We believe that they're a bunch of cells that are sitting there, and the mother's body thinks it's a parasite at first. You know, it's trying to kill it and get rid of it and stuff. Nobody's listening, and now they're making rules where it's illegal in any capacity, so that women with ectopic pregnancies or other kinds of problems can die because they can't get this. That's not a compromise.
well, right, but I think we're almost saying the same thing, because you're talking about how these religious people won't compromise. That's what I'm saying. Maybe if these religious people and who's ever on the opposite end, maybe if only they would sit down and talk and reach a compromise, then I think things would be better.
Well, if they could, that would be great.
That's what I'm saying.
But
right.
in my belief, I think what the compromise is that, I was never really against, and there are probably people who are, and I can understand their point of view, but I was never against the idea of, after a certain stage of pregnancy, because now it's like, it looks like a baby. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I get that part. But 6 weeks is not a good time for that, because people don't even know they're pregnant yet. And it's still not a baby, So when it becomes a religious thing, then what happens is you're opening the door to a Taliban situation where it's like, it just so happens that Christians are the minority religion here. But what if it was the Muslims? And they were saying, well, no, we're going to start legislating our laws because 6 of the people on the Supreme Court are Muslims now. Right. Ha. And we're saying this is legal, that's illegal. And how would you like that? They'd freaking burn that building down in 5 seconds. You're telling me they wouldn't?
No.
They would.
I'm not telling you that.
I know.
Oh.
Don't tell me they would. This is a comedy show, right?
I got yelled at the other day. We had a guest the other day who told me my questions were too serious, and we didn't laugh.
No, I think comedy. I think comedy is a good way to bring about serious topics.
Oh, absolutely.
I think comedy can be silly and slapstick. That's fun, but to discuss serious topics in a comedic way just helps to highlight the absurdity of what we're talking about here.
Absolutely right.
I am not saying that I think that your daughter is whatever. I don't know the exact words, so I'm not going to say words. But
autistic.
Autistic. Sorry, that was the word. It wasn't coming into my head. Your daughter is autistic. You didn't abort her? What are you, a moron? Oh my God! I would have aborted that thing I would never say that. I would never think that. I would think it's amazing that given the choice you chose this, and I think it's amazing that given the choice you chose that, because you don't know. There's no way to know what's going on in people's lives, what they can handle, what they can do.
Yes.
Right? It's like, okay, so the baby was born, and now they can't handle it, and it's just the worst situation for everybody. That's I understand that people overcome hardships and things like that, and you can pull yourself up from. I get it, but we can't dictate what people have to do in their lives based on somebody's arbitrary religious beliefs, because we don't share the same religious beliefs. And guess what? We have the freedom not to in this country.
Right.
Or so I've been told. And I would like to keep that freedom, because I think you have the right to choose your way, and I have the right to choose my way, and they have the right to choose their way. If they want to have every baby they get pregnant with, no matter what the reason, if it was rape or incest or anything, and they still think, no, this is a life and I want to keep it, great. Andrew.
Right.
For you.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
I like it. Let me read some comments here. Andrew from there. I heard a lot of strippers voted this time. At least that's what the polls said. But Andy Plajanos. At some point, people have made the other side out to being un-American, right? Which is a problem.
Oh man, that's un-American. That's the go-to thing. I couldn't think of a single word I wanted to say for that.
You know what?
That's yeah. Well, how that?
Honestly, the only leader right now that's worth following is Cashin and Andor. I watched the first episode of Andor. I found it boring, and then I heard it stays boring, so I haven't bothered. Have you?
What's Andor?
Andor is the latest Star Wars series.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been watching any of the Star Wars shows.
Really?
I know. I watched the first season of The Mandalorian.
Which was awesome.
Which was awesome. That was it. I haven't stayed.
Who are you? What'd you do with Bobby Donohue?
No, you know what it is? My son's not into Star Wars. And I've been into things that he's been into. He
like what?
Into Breaking Bad.
Oh, Breaking Bad is awesome.
Breaking Bad is amazing. We watched that. Then we watched Better Call Saul.
Which was just as good, if not better.
Yeah. And then we were thinking, this is better. And now we're rewatching Breaking Bad with the knowledge from Better Call Saul. And we're like, no, this is better. And then, yeah. So
Zach and I did the same thing. We're now trying to do this in chronological order. So we went back to Saul. And I think we're on season 2, I think. And we're going to go right into Breaking Bad.
And now we're worried that we'll never have another thing to watch. Because what could possibly be as good?
Yeah, but I said that after The Sopranos.
I know.
So
I think this is better than Sopranos, though. I really do. You know what? That's subjective, but
there wouldn't have been a Breaking Bad if The Sopranos didn't happen.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how I see it, whether it's better or worse. I wish we could elect people we see as reasonable so we can convince them if an issue is important or not. Andor's the best series in the Star Wars world, says Andy Plajanos. Really? I thought Obi-Wan was pretty good, although I think The Mandalorian is my favorite so far. Andor takes control and gets shit done. Oh, Plajano says it's his favorite character now. So we're sitting here talking about important things like politics when we should be talking about Star Wars, apparently.
Next time I'm here, I'll watch the show before, and then we can...
All right. It made Rogue One look even better the second time I watched it. I'm sorry, I thought Rogue One was awesome.
That was one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Probably my favorite of all the post-Jedi, Return of the Jedi movies.
Well, that's the thing with Star Wars now. So if you look, there's 11 movies altogether?
Yeah.
Right? You had 3 trilogies. You had Rogue One. You have Solo. I think I got them all. I think that's 11. But if you look at everything as a whole, and then if you want to throw in this, if you want to look at the series too, all the series they've had, the bulk of it has sucked. But the stuff that's good is really good.
The stuff that's good is really, really good.
Yeah, I thought Rogue One was fantastic. I loved it. But
my son asked me a question recently. He said, "Why do people say they love Star Wars or any of these Star Trek, anything, right? Why do people say they love it, but then do nothing but bash it and tell you how much it sucks?"
Right.
Right?
It's
I
true.
was like, that's a really good question. I think because they love the concept of it so much,
right,
that when a new piece of content doesn't live up to their expectations of it, they take it personally.
And they have their own visions of where they want it to go. So when it doesn't go that way, they get upset.
Yeah.
I never cast a vote for cross-endorsed candidates. New York Girl says, wow, I guess she didn't expect such serious topic today. Some sway to the left, some sway to the right. I just sort of hang in between with a bit of a curve. Yes, I've heard you go both ways, Fremder. Yeah, Plajanos rewatch Rogue One after episode 8 of Andor, I'm assuming, and it added an amazing depth. Star Wars is more accurate politically as to what's really going on than what we see here on the news. Fremder, I think we need George Carlin's political thoughts on abortion. Okay. If Padme had an abortion, then we wouldn't have had all this awesome Star Wars shit happening right now. Andy Plajanos, Bobby is making too much sense. Prepare for technical difficulties. New York Girl, government should not legislate termination. That is between the person and their doctor and their religious beliefs. End of story, in my opinion.
There you go.
Let me ask you a question then, New York Girl, and I'll pose the same question to you. My body, my right. You know, that's what they say when it comes to abortion.
You got to say vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing. I'm just asking it as a serious question. I'm not placing any judgment. And I'd love to hear it because I hear this argument all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So the argument is if the people on the left say my body, my choice when it comes to abortion, why isn't it my body, my choice when it comes to the vaccines?
Correct.
And you know what? On the surface, I think that makes a little bit of sense until you dig a little under the surface, and then it's really a false comparative.
Okay.
Okay. For a really important reason. Or one is my body, my choice with abortion. It only affects that one body. Right? If a woman has an abortion, that does not kill anybody else's babies. It doesn't affect your life in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the only other person who can say they have an opinion about it is the guy that got her pregnant. But it's not his body.
Right.
You know, we're talking about her body. Okay,
Yeah.
so we all get that part. Now to the vaccine, right? The vaccine, my body, my choice. I don't want the vaccine in my body. Because of, well, first of all of the reasons why people didn't want it were lies told to people to rile us up and pit us against each other, first of all. So the people who don't want it, I don't blame them for not wanting it, because I think the majority of them actually truly believe that this is something that's going to hurt them, and they don't want it in their body, and I get that.
I do believe it did. The vaccine did hurt certain people. I do believe, depending on your makeup, depending on whatever health issues you have going on, I do believe it affected some people.
Okay.
My personal opinion.
Okay. I don't know that that's a fact, but I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
Okay.
But probably a minuscule amount of people.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So-
oh, yeah. I wasn't saying
so-
half or anything like that.
Right. So let's just put that aside.
Okay, sorry.
The way... shut up. You have to understand how vaccines work. You know, there's a reason why our kids didn't grow up with polio. It's because they came up with a polio vaccine.
Right.
And there's a reason, I don't even think we grew up with polio.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and there's a reason why we don't have, swaths of our population being knocked down by smallpox anymore. It's because we came up with vaccines. And we understand how vaccines work. When the majority of the population takes the vaccine, the virus has nowhere to go. If it comes to me and it can't get in me because I have the vaccine, it'll try to go to you. It can't get in you. And if there are enough of us have the vaccine, then there are always going to be people who can't take vaccines for whatever reason.
Right.
A religious belief, I get that one. For the same reason that I don't want to hear about, right? So the religious one I'll allow in this case, because they aren't a large enough percentage of the population that it hurts us. But when you have a third of the population to a half of the population that is refusing to take the vaccine, it affects the ability for the vaccine to help me and my family, because vaccines work when we all do it together.
Right.
If we're trying to put up a building and I'm putting up a wall and you're pulling down the wall, that wall is not going up. You know, it's not going halfway up, and halfway up doesn't help anybody.
Right.
Right? So my body, my choice on the vaccine, really it's my body and my choice to kill all of you people. Because I refuse to participate in the thing that we need to do as a community. We have a communal obligation to each other. We know that if I'm walking down the street and I'm passing you on the street, I know that chances are I can trust that you're not going to just punch me or kick me or stab me or shoot me. Now, I know that it's possible, but for the most part, I can trust that we don't do that to each other.
I've been tempted.
Well, not you and me. That's a different story. Turn the mics off.
Do you think if the vaccine was handled like a flu shot, where it's not mandatory but it's recommended,
Yeah.
do you think that would have caused less confusion, less fighting?
Well, think about 2020 for a second. I'll answer
It's a good
that.
show.
I'll answer that question. Remember the year when we first heard about this virus?
Right.
Everybody was a little scared, and we didn't really know what to expect. And
Right.
We're looking at photographs from 1901, and everybody, right? And we're all like, oh, right? Even President Trump at the time was saying, we're going to have a vaccine. It's going to be here so fast. It's going right. Everybody was on board with this. Get it. Let's go.
Right.
Get it.
Yeah.
But then what happened? All of a sudden, some people started saying the vaccine wasn't going to be a good thing. Now, there was only one reason for that: political power. because we needed something to argue about. Political power only works when you and I hate each other, and you go vote for your guy, and I go vote for my guy, and I don't want to hear the crap coming out of your mouth, and you don't want to hear the brilliant stuff that I have to say.
It is nothing but crap here. I am not. I am not disagreeing with you.
That's how entrenched power works. And they need to have their entrenched power. And the only way for them to keep it is for us to be so angry with each other that we're not noticing that they're killing us.
I agree. I agree 100%.
So the narrative,
that's how corporate America works.
The narrative changed to vaccine is good on the left and bad on the right. But at first, it was, there's a virus coming, and we can get this vaccine, we can get it out fast, and we'll all survive, and it'll be fine. And everyone was like, yay. And you know who I was rooting for? I was rooting for President Trump to get it done. I was like, this could actually be the thing that makes him a great president. Even though I hate everything about him, if he gets this done, man, I will vote for the other guy next time with less apathy for him.
and that's exactly why I asked that question, because there are certain things like a 9/11, like a quarantine and a worldwide COVID, where political parties don't matter.
Yeah.
And we all need to just come together as one and fix whatever's going on and handle whatever the situation is. And I agree. That's why I say maybe if it was the whole thing, even the quarantine, I felt if they said right in the beginning, look, we're going to have to quarantine for 6 months. This is going to suck. And, but we'll figure something out and hopefully it'll go fast, but this is what we have to do. And they didn't do that. Instead, it was quarantine for 3 weeks. Oh, it's getting worse. We better quarantine more. And like everything they did was just instilling that fear.
Yeah.
So that people would form their own decisions and fight amongst themselves so that you don't pay attention anymore to what's really going on.
Right.
And again, that's why I say corporate America, because that's what they used to do. The pit management against, the workforce.
Right.
And let them fight. And while you guys are fighting, we're back here counting all the cash.
Yeah, exactly.
Excuse me. It's the same ideology, same way of thinking. So if they just didn't spread the fear, and personally I believe if they just said, yeah, we would like, of course we want everybody to take this, but maybe if they just tried it first where it was just not mandatory, and in hopes that 70% of the people had to take it or 80% had to take it in order for it to really work.
Yeah, I don't remember the numbers, but yeah.
But again, because once you made it mandatory, of course you're going to have people, don't tell me what to do,
Right.
And so I just feel they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they wanted to fight.
Sure.
So, if they just said, it's like a flu shot, go get it if you want.
The tactic, you're asking about the tactic to get everybody to do it.
Correct.
Yeah, I think there could have been, this is why I make Planet Bonehead, because we need education. When I heard the nonsense about vaccines were this and that, bad this way and bad that way, I was like, what are you talking about? We've had vaccines for years. They were the thing in the 20th century that made it so that we could have the life of the 21st century that we have now.
Yeah.
Without vaccines, we would be serfs living in a freaking... It would have never... That's why it never... We had people living next to animals and getting diseases, and then what happened? Oh, look, on the New World, and we went over there and brought these diseases that none of those people were used to. So that's like 80% of the Native Americans gone because they all got it. But if they had the vaccine, they'd be alive, and they would have kicked us out of here, and we'd all be in Europe right now. But so it's how it works. But when suddenly you lose that institutional knowledge, you lose that ability to say, hey, remember vaccines? That's why we have the things we have.
Right.
But now people don't remember that, and they don't know that, and so then they don't believe it. Here's an interesting, this has nothing to do with that, but it's a really interesting analogy is think of your smartphone, right? Your iPhone. I don't have to hold it up. You all got one, right? So,
what? What's he talking about?
This is an iPhone. There's a camera. This is an iPhone, right? Think about this. We all know how to use it. But if something were to happen where the system went down that connects you to me and me to them and all that stuff, could you rebuild that thing?
No.
None of us could. I don't even think most of the people that work at Apple could. You know?
Yeah.
We don't know how. None of us know how. And a similar thing, I think, has happened in our education system when it comes to scientific stuff like vaccines. None of us understand vaccines and why they're important and why we have them. We just don't know what that's about. And all we're doing is, and you're right, I think that this is a big part, we're being told. This is what we have to do. We're doing it, and I am decreeing it. Right? Well, you're not the fucking king, you know? King Cuomo says we have to go and do this. He was right, but maybe you're right. Maybe wow. It happened! Holy cow!
We are celebrating 50 years of friendship.
Yeah.
Because we met when we were 2. So after 50 years, it finally happened.
Not tell people I'm 52.
You just turned 52 last week. 52. If you didn't hear me, 52.
I'm out of water. There goes the call.
I'm out of water. There's more over there.
I know. I just don't.
Are you going to be all right? Can you get to it? You need me to get to it? Grandpa, you need me to go get the water for you?
They don't know what we're talking about with the wheezing thing.
No, but I'm making funny about it anyway. But let's see. The real question is: Would you have aborted if you knew he wasn't going to be a Star Wars fan? What?
Would you have had your kid aborted if you knew it
was? Aborted. Oh, if you knew it wasn't going to be a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
I just might, actually, yeah. Oh, there, he just corrected himself, sorry. The day my son stops watching Star Wars and starts watching shows about meth.
You know, that's interesting right there, because I had to do some things. When I was a young dad, I had ideas about my kid's going to be into Star Wars. I named him Luke. You know,
that's right.
And
yep.
And
I couldn't name my son Luke.
It was no. Oh, Luke Walker. Yeah, that's funny. But I named him Luke, and jokingly, in fact, it was with your brother. I saw your brother at one of your shows. I was filming your Knockem Dead Comedy.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Drop Dead Comedy, I think, at the time. And your brother was there, and he's like, "How's it going?" I was like, "Oh, I just had a son, right?" And he's like, "Oh my God, congratulations! What's his name?" I said, "I named him Luke, so I can say, Luke, I am your father." And he just went, "Of course," right? And it was just like, so that was just the running joke. But then he wanted to try different sports, and I was like, "Well, try baseball," because we grew up playing baseball, and I thought every game in the world was baseball, and because they were.
Oh yeah,
every game we played was a variation of baseball, and he tried it, and I was the little league coach. And he did not like baseball.
Yeah.
He's like, I want to play basketball. And then it was soccer. And those were the two sports that were my least favorite when I was a kid. So it would have been like, I can understand that some dads would be like, no, you got to play baseball because that's what I liked. But I just decided, you know what? He's on his journey. Nobody told me what I had to like.
Absolutely.
And go and play that. So I have now, I started living by this rule that if he likes something, I try to get into it. He kept telling me, "Have you ever seen Breaking Bad?" I was like, "No." He's like, "You got to watch it." So I watched it, and I love it. He's really into rap, and he listens to people like, what's his name? Oh, God, his name just went out of my head. There's one. Oh, I'll think of it as I'm in the car driving home. But it doesn't matter. It's not Kanye. He liked him too, but now we're all like, yeah. So, oh, damn, what is his name? He's really, really good. Anyway, I would listen to this too, and then we would talk about it,
Right.
And it's a way for me to bond with him,
of course,
on his terms,
right?
Because he's into these things, and now he's getting really into music production,
right?
And tomorrow we're going to work on a song together.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, I know. I'm really excited.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
In fact, I just posted that yesterday. My son, one of those Facebook memories came up. 9 years ago yesterday, I took my son to a Doctor Who convention.
Mm-hmm. That was 9 years ago?
Well, I took him a few times, but yeah, it was. I think it was the last one. The last time I took him was 9 years ago. I did the same thing. I was like, holy shit! And I never, of course, I heard of it, never watched a single second of it. until he got into it.
Yeah.
And it didn't really completely, get me.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched it since he stopped, but I was happy to watch that with him. And this post was, I posted something about how he went to this convention. I took him, because he was only, 9 at the time. What is he? He's going to be 22. So 9 years ago, so he was 13. Or just about 13. So he couldn't drive by himself, so I had to take him.
Drive? He couldn't drive by 13?
Not legally.
Why didn't you abort him then? I don't
Yeah,
understand.
exactly. Right. So this kid going to be your driver? No. But the memory of...
See, that was bad comedy. That was...
It's always bad comedy in here.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why it's... Yeah,
No,
that's
like
why
mine.
I'm here.
I set that up poorly. That was just...
So, but the memory of going to this thing,
Yeah.
like seeing him in his element, he was so excited. He dressed up, I don't know, somebody, I don't remember who he dressed up as, but, and they had the TARDIS. TARDIS. And he was so excited to go inside.
Dude.
Yeah. And they had the actors there from the show. He was meeting them. And there were other people dressed up as characters. He was taking pictures with them. It was so cool. Like you said, least favorite sport, a show I didn't really give two craps about, but I loved watching him just being so happy. And the memory of him getting to meet, there was an actor there who actually was one of the Doctor Who's at some point. So, and the story, he met the guy, got his autograph, cost I think $30 for the autograph or whatever it was. 2 hours later, he had already lost it.
Oh.
So, but I didn't care about. At first, I'm like, I just spent this money on this damn thing.
Yeah.
But then I saw how upset he was. I'm like, so now I feel bad for him. But then we went back the next day to this convention, and the actor was still there. So this time, I paid another $50, but he got a picture with him instead, which is so much better than an autograph. Yeah. And we still have, and it was totally worth it.
That's awesome.
And right, it's those. What's that?
Do you remember who it was?
Who the actor was?
Yeah.
I would know the name if I heard it. Short guy, he wears a derby.
Sylvester McCoy?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, he was there.
He was one of the doctors.
That's what I
There's been
said.
a comment on that screen about Doctor Who the whole time. And then
has it?
Yeah.
I just want to say though, when my son did play baseball, because again, I still love baseball like a nut job. When of course I put him in T-ball in the beginning, and of course it didn't really go well. When he was in 4th grade, he came up to me out of nowhere. He said he wanted to play. I was like, oh my God. So I threw him in, and I had a friend of mine who was coaching, and I knew he'd be great with my son. So I didn't decide to pick it up. I let my friend coach. And my son, it was tough because all these kids have been playing it for a few years at that point. So, and he hadn't, so he was behind them. And he's, and they are kids, and he wasn't as into it as they were. So he'd be in right field, or pretending he's, somewhere else, But the first time.
We never did that one.
Oh, no. Just last week. The first time he ever scored a run, I was like, I still remember it. I'm like, da-da-da, like, that's my boy. Like it was the coolest thing to see him scoring his first run. Like, and it's still something I think about quite often. My body, my right should be opposite of my body, my left. A rush vaccine makes people nervous. Yes, I agree. That is I do think that was part of the problem. When I got vaccinated, all of a sudden I knew Chinese. Andrew Fremder is going to be so happy to see you laugh like that to his joke, because we always make fun of him how bad his jokes are. The combo of anti-intellectualism and anti-credentialism is the root of the problem. See Andy with the big words. The root of the problem is I need a dictionary to read your comments. I remember when there was a shortage on toilet paper, but every store had alcohol, so pretty much I couldn't wipe my ass, but I got shit-faced. That is a positive. The freaking bidets, they're freaking awesome. If you think a farmer has the same knowledge about it, as an illness as a doctor who has spent his life studying and treating that illness, then we have Mao Zedong's Cultural Revolution. Okay. I wonder how it all would have played out if we had a Doctor Who. That's funny. All right, New York Girl. I remember that we had approved vaccines that now are not. So the new vaccine scares some. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. There's Don Sill. It's not an actual vaccine. It doesn't work. He's got a point. It definitely wasn't, because they did originally say this vaccine, you will not get the virus if you take this vaccine. So
Did they say that?
I'm sorry?
Did they say that?
Yeah, they did. I do believe that if you do get it after getting the vaccine, you won't get it as bad. So I do believe there is a purpose for the vaccine, but I can understand where Don is coming from. And like I said before, I do, and I agree with New York Girl. When something new comes out, of course, you're going to be a little anxious about it. In fact, I'll give an example. There was some years back, new technology came out where for amputees, where they actually drill a hole into the bottom of your stump. And I know what you guys are thinking, but they drill a hole in the bottom of your stump, and they insert a metal rod. And the metal rod sticks out a little bit so that you can then attach the prosthetic.
Okay.
This thing seemed like it was phenomenal. A guy like me who, is above the knee, who has to wear this big fiberglass socket, and it's completely uncomfortable all the time. During the summer, I mean, it stinks because I sweat so bad in the damn thing. This new procedure was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. This will be like having my leg back.
Yeah.
I went to a lecture about it, and it was funny because there were all sorts of doctors and specialists there. The doctor that originally convinced me to try to save my leg, because if you remember, I was on crutches for 3 years. We're trying to save the leg. When I went to that doctor, because that doctor originally said to me, 9 to 12 months, you'll be like as good as new, like this never happened. 9 months came, I'm still on crutches, still in pain. It'll get better. After 12 months, all right, it'll still get better. We need to do some revisions. We need to open you up again, but you're going to be fine. After several revisions, 3 years later, I'm still on crutches, still in pain. I went to him and said, can we chop this thing off? Oh, no. He got so upset. No, you could never do that. No, you're going to be fine. I had to go to a different doctor who said to me, that doctor is known for convincing people to get that surgery. He goes, he has like 3 successes, hundreds of failures. He goes, so we eventually did amputate. But this doctor that kept me on crutches for 3 years, he's at this convention. He's at this lecture. I'm sitting at the same table as him by coincidence. He looks at me. I just kind of give him one of these with a little smile. He just turns right away and just faces the front. Wouldn't even look at me. Wow. Now this guy, but I did think to myself, if he's considering this surgery and this procedure, well then, if it convinced him, it must be really good.
Yeah.
The doctor that was leading this thing, the doctor that kind of pioneered this procedure, was from Australia. I got to talking to him afterwards. He then starts reaching out to me. You're the perfect candidate for this. Let's move forward. I would have had to gone to Australia for it. Now it's in the States, but at the time it wasn't. I was all for it. In fact, he even brought a few people that had the procedure done. One of them was really hot. She had cowboy boots. She was just like Daisy Duke with a prosthetic. It was hot. So I'm like, and it's amazing how hotness convinces us guys something is
That's
legit.
Good.
But sure enough, it was brand new. Then the more research I did, the more I found that people were getting infections because you have this rod sticking out.
Yeah.
So there's an open wound there.
Yeah.
People were getting infections. People were, some of these procedures failed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking it. It worked for plenty of people, and good for them. But it was new. There were problems. So it was enough for me to say, I'm just not going to do it. I completely chickened out. And I think that is the same here. It is new. Anything that's new has kinks that you need to iron out. And I can understand, Don, like I said before to you, there are a percentage amount. I don't know if it's a huge amount, a small amount, but there is an amount of people where a certain medication, a certain diet, a certain vaccine may not work for you, or there's something going on. Unfortunately, Don did lose his brother at the age of 48. So, there's no way in hell I'm going to sit here and try to convince Don Sill that the vaccine works or is good for everybody.
Yeah.
because after what he went through, I do personally believe that, it's not for everybody. I do, my personal opinion, I'm not an expert. I do believe it's going to be okay for most people. But I don't have a problem with Don, who will never get the vaccine. He believes it's poison. Who am I to argue that? I totally respect it. I got the vaccine being completely unsure about it. I didn't feel right about it. I did wait a long time. Mm-hmm. I do feel I'm okay. It's been over a year. I did get my first booster in August, I think it was. Made me sick as a dog. When I did the 2 vaccine shots, nothing, no problem. Mm-hmm. This booster made me so sick, I don't think I'm going to do another one. That's how sick I got. Yeah. I'm like, this sucks. But, and I can understand why he feels this way, and I can understand his point, because it is new. Maybe we did get lucky. Maybe we didn't. Maybe these people were smart enough that, that they knew how to take care of it. Like you said, we were all just, let's get this. We need to.
Yeah. You know what? I hear you on that, because it was definitely rushed. And when you think about it, it was like, everybody has to get this vaccine. And in the midst of something that was chaotic and scary,
Right.
I mentioned smallpox. I mentioned those other ones before. We weren't alive when those things came out, but I don't think it was a wave of it that was killing everybody. You know what I mean? It was, hey, this sucks to get it. Let's fix it for these people so that nobody else has to get it in the future. That's wonderful. But they weren't all, living in isolation with masks on and afraid to be, oh my God,
right.
6 feet, right? Yeah. Like that's how we were living. And it's easy to forget what that felt like now that we're not. But I can imagine that we were very susceptible to fear. And we're already a culture of people who just don't tell me what the fuck to do,
Right.
And I get that too, because I don't want people I just said the first half of the show is don't tell me what the fuck to do,
Right.
And so I get it. I really, really do. And I don't think the answer is, to force them. I don't.
Right.
Because that's just going to cause great resentment. And we're going to fracture as a society. So whoop-de-doo, we're all alive and we want to kill each other. The answer is education.
Yep.
Because if everybody grows up understanding what a vaccine is and why it's important and how they work and what goes on, and when they came out with this vaccine, they were able to come out with it quickly because they already had the technology to understand what a coronavirus is. We never heard of coronavirus, so it must be something brand new on Earth.
But they had heard of it.
They already knew what it was. They just, COVID-19 was new.
Right.
Or this variation of the coronavirus was new. But they already knew what a coronavirus was. They already understood how to, I wasn't there, so I don't know how to say this correctly. But they already knew kind of the technology and the mechanism behind making a vaccine for this. And they were like, well, we've already been working on stuff like this, and now we just make it for this one. We got it,
Right.
And they were able to do that because they've been doing it. It was an overnight success because they've been doing it for 25 years. You know what I mean? But we haven't been keeping up as a society about talking about these things. Nobody was ever prepared for the idea of, hey, these vaccine things that we all take the MMR shots and we all take smallpox and nobody really bitches about it. And we all go, and there was that autism scare thing, but that turned out to not be the way that people get autism. But, we don't prepare for things. We don't say, hey, if there's a thing, as a collective, this is the way we're going to handle it.
Right.
We bicker about whether science is real or not. Science doesn't even say science is real. Science just says this is what we believe now based on the observations that we're taking. And that scientist over there is working really hard to prove me wrong.
Right.
That's what scientists are saying,
Like you said, education and respectful communication. Because you just said it, bickering and finger pointing, that has become the norm.
Yeah.
I mean, half of the news programs now are so-and-so said this, so-and-so tweeted this today. They're not, that's what the news has become. It's not, here's the latest what we know about the vaccine. It's become, Kanye said this, Donald Trump said this, Joe Biden said this.
There's going to be a red wave. There's going to be a red, why were they saying that for weeks and months?
Right.
Because it gets us all pissed off and annoyed. It just gets us to hate each other.
Instead of hating each other, instead of finger pointing.
I'm wearing a red shirt, dude. That's how much I hate this.
Yeah, but red CWA Thursdays, all CWA members wear red to show their solidarity. So now you like it.
I didn't know that.
Instead of finger pointing and blaming, I hear you. The communication and respectful disagreeing, respectful debates, is gone.
It's gone.
And that's
you
a
can get
shame.
it back though.
I hope so.
No, you can.
Friender, my smartphone's been acting weird. I hit the home button and I'm still at work. One time I was watching. Oh my goodness!
That took a second.
Yeah. That's one of his better ones. One time I was watching Doctor Who and all of a sudden started not feeling well, so I ran to the bathroom during the break to drop a Turtis. New York Girl agrees. 100% it is their journey. I can't stand parents who want mini-me's. Right now, hardest thing ever to show support for my son. He is planning a move to live in Hawaii, but I suck it up and I'm supporting the best I can. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a toughie.
That sucks, but that would be a fun visit. A lot of shit going on in 2020, which is why it was important just to get by. Bidet. Oh, my God.
That was not a good one.
No, that's usually the level
I
of
gave
his.
him two, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Don, I hope you're not going to kill me for, what we were saying today. Speaking of Don, everybody, don't forget, which I think I invited you to. Don't forget, this Wednesday, as soon as I find it, winner for best script at the Tokyo Short Film Festival. Honorable mention for the New Wave Short Film Festival. That's right. We're talking about Comic Sans. Private screening this coming Wednesday, November 16th. A lot of you have been invited. Let us know that you're coming, and we'll put you on the list. We hope you guys can make it. Comic Sans, written, directed, starring, produced by Don Sill. Featuring Eric Haft, Austin Brooks, Carrie Caravis, Andy Plajanos, Jeff Bosey, Joey Petroni, Shari Poland, Joey Cola, myself. I also produced it with Don. My son and his girlfriend and his crew were behind the scenes, and they did a super job. Very excited. This Wednesday at the Belmore Movie Theater in Belmore. Come join us at 7:30 to 9:30. The doors open at 7:30. Probably going to get the movie going around 8:15 the latest. The movie's a little over a half hour. And then we're going to be talking to Don after the movie. Joey Cola is going to be there. He said he'll get up and talk with us as well. So this is invite only. You can't just show up. Invite only. So if you'd like to be on the list, let us know, and we'll get you there. We have plenty of people coming, so we're very excited. Can't wait for you guys to see it. Psyched for the premiere, says Don. Oh, Don says, okay, great show, Bobby rocks, and great discussion. See, that's what it's all about. What does that say? Yay, says New York Girl. New York Girl, you coming? And yeah, I did ask you, didn't I?
You did, yeah,
I did.
forgot.
Are you coming now? All right, now you have to go home and check with Laura?
Well, yeah, I would like to. I remember you mentioned it now.
Yeah.
And but you mentioned it, so I just
Blah, 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 wah, 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 wah.
yeah.
All right, so...
Wait, are we done? We didn't get to any of the funny things.
I know we didn't get to any... you know what? Screw it. You want to keep going?
I'll keep going.
All right, we'll keep going. Screw it. The fun things I was going to ask you about, I have not seen it yet. Have you seen this Weird Al movie?
No.
It looks fantastic.
I heard it's good. Yeah.
It looks fantastic. I can't
never
wait.
a really big Weird Al fan.
Oh, really?
Like, I liked some of his songs, but I was never, like, yeah, there were a couple, like Eat It, I thought was good.
Oh, yeah, man.
You know? That's the only one I can think of.
This, you sound like Mudley.
Yeah, I got an itch in my throat, and luckily it has not affected me much today at all.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It's bad. Like, I'll say something to at home, and it'll tickle just as I'm trying to say something, and I'll be like, it's just as I'm trying to say something. And it goes like that. I thought the whole show was gonna be me doing that.
I was kind of hoping it was. I really
Yeah.
wanted to make fun of you.
Well, you need a reason.
Yeah, true. One of the best concerts I ever saw, summer of '87, the Monkees with Weird Al opening.
Really?
Freaking great.
Oh man. Yeah, maybe if I saw him live, that would have been.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
What are the songs I can't?
I took you as a Weird Al fan. All right. So
I'll remember them all probably.
Yoda.
No.
Yoda. Yoda. Instead of Lola.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
I just never. I don't know.
I Love Rocky Road.
Yeah, I remember that.
Gangsta's Paradise. No, Gangsta's Paradise is the real song. Amish Paradise.
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, that's awesome. Jeopardy.
No.
I won on Jeopardy,
Oh, yeah,
baby.
I remember that one. Yeah.
There's so many. Fat instead of Bad by Michael Jackson. He did
Yeah,
Fat.
you're right.
Oh, Like a Surgeon.
That was it. I knew there was a Like a Virgin one.
I know I was
couldn't
missing
think
a big
of it.
one, yeah.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew that was a one, but I could only think of Like a Virgin, which is the actual song.
You're right. I didn't believe in monkeypox until I saw her face. Oh, goodness, Fremder. Fremder's bringing his special popcorn bucket to the premiere. All right, don't sit next to Fremder.
Wow, he's hit or miss. The good ones are good.
He actually yelled at me a few because the popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
I think he says it every time I mention any movie.
Oh, really?
So I called him out on it. So he was like.
Well, that's my first time.
Well, that's the thing. A couple of weeks ago, he's like, "So I can't repeat something in case somebody didn't see it. You know, do comedians only say their jokes once?" And then he hit me, and I said, "I can't wait to see the movie Constipation. It hasn't come out yet." There you go. Yeah, right. That's another one he says all the time.
What?
I can't wait to
Hasn't
see.
come out yet.
Yes, there you
All
go.
right.
New York girl, Tony, only if you are my date for the night. Oh, nice. Fremder, give me one of those buckets.
Yeah, I notice you don't say the LOL.
Oh, yeah, I'm totally skipping that. When she sees my penis, she'll say LOL. Yeah. So, all right, so that was one of the things I was going to ask you about.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of Madonna,
Yeah.
have you seen her daughter?
No.
She's now singing, like putting out her own music.
Really.
And I just saw some video of her where she's like trying to be like her mother. Like it's all like, you know, tight, scantily dressed.
Yeah.
And she's like laying in all sexual positions. I don't know. So I'm just like, we've been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even Madonna herself, have you seen her lately? Like,
No.
yeah, she's in her 60s.
Yeah.
It's time to get dressed.
I guess. I don't know. I don't pay attention to her.
Yeah, I don't either. And I think that's the problem. People aren't paying attention, so she's trying harder. I think, you know, she's at an age where you got to, again, get dressed. So just sing. And I think she would, if she just put out good music where she's just singing, I think people would pay attention again. Nobody wants to see a 60-something-year-old.
Specifically about the sexuality thing, but I will say this about the topic you're talking about.
Okay.
Is that when artists get older, right? I prefer it when their art evolves with them.
That's my point.
Yeah, because I find that they're better. I don't usually appreciate it when, and a really great example of this is a lot of the 80s hair bands that are still doing like club tours and coming out with new music, that they're trying to write albums that they would have written in 1985, you know?
Right.
And it's just like...
Right. That's exactly my point.
Dude, you're a good singer, you're a good this, you're a good
Right.
that. Like, do something relevant, you know?
But, you know,
That's why I always liked Rush, because Rush was never the same.
right.
And they may have had albums that you didn't like, you know? They may have had eras that you didn't like, but they always evolved, and they were always like, we're doing this now,
Right.
you know?
And it was good. People just went with them because it was good. They did it right. Neil Young does that. Sting does that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that
Although
do
I
that.
stopped liking Sting's new stuff. I don't really like much of it anymore.
Oh, I think his last album is fantastic.
Which one?
The Bridge
Oh,
came out maybe like a year ago.
yeah. I think
I
I
thought it
gave
was
that
great.
one listen. I'll give it another one because I didn't like the 59th Street one before it.
That one was
And he
okay.
did something with Shaggy that I was like, what the hell is
Yeah, I
this?
did the same thing.
didn't-
What?
I did not like that at all.
Yeah.
And then this one came out, and I think I put it on in the background one day, and I was like, whatever. You know.
I'm not going to say it was phenomenal. Oh my God, it's fantastic. It was really good. To me, it did remind me of Dream of the Blue Turtles.
Okay, I'll listen to it again. Then.
And Dream of the Blue Turtles is a masterpiece.
Seeing him in Only Murders in the Building. I watched that. You recommended that to me, and that show was great. That was
the first season, especially. The second season is still good, but definitely not as good as the first.
Second season.
Yeah, no, I liked it.
I didn't understand Amy Schumer in it. She was in the beginning, but she wasn't.
Right, and then she was just kind of gone.
But
it was good.
Sting was funny.
Yes.
I never, because I love when people play an absurd version of themselves. Like, I can't see Sting being somebody who hates dogs.
Right, right.
Really, Sting? I don't think you hate dogs.
What was the show? What was it called? Matt LeBlanc played Joey from Friends.
Yeah, I know the
where
show.
he had to play himself.
Yeah, I never saw that show.
Oh, the first 2 seasons are, I mean, it went to like 5 or 6 and it kind of lost it, but the first 2 seasons, especially the first season, hilarious.
Yeah.
Hilarious. And especially because of him, he plays an exaggerated version of himself.
James Vanderbeek did that too in the Bitchin' Apartment 23. He was a ridiculous version of him, so he was so funny.
Oh, what's the name of that show? It's going to kill me.
It's one word, right?
Yes. Scripts
no.
But it had something to, because
Did it begin with a P?
I don't know. The main characters were writers for LeBlanc's show, so it had something to do with writing, script writing or something.
I was with Bobby 100 until this Rush shit.
That's funny.
That's great.
I really liked the bridge. I thought it was pretty good. And I just lost what I was going to say. Oh, Billy Joel, I feel, did that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got?
What else
lightning
I got?
Round of funny things.
Oh, you know what we'll do? All right, I got lightning round for you.
Yeah?
Yep, here we go.
All right, hang on, I need water.
All right. We'll play a little Have You Ever. I haven't done this in a long time. Have you ever, Bobby Donohue?
Hang on.
And if you choose not to answer, just say pass.
All right.
Have you ever smoked weed?
Yeah.
Have you ever popped pills?
No.
You had to think about that.
Well, I mean, like, you don't mean Tylenol. You mean like...
I'm assuming it means recreationally.
Yeah, no.
Have you ever went streaking?
No.
That's a shame. Have you ever skinny dipped?
I think so. Yeah, I'm going to say yeah.
Have you ever been arrested?
No.
Have you ever gotten into a fist fight?
No.
Wow.
I've never
really
hit anyone or been hit.
Really?
By anyone except you and my brother.
That probably doesn't count. I
don't count it because we were children.
And we didn't. I don't recall. Did we ever really like sock each other?
We just wrestled.
Yeah, I don't.
My brother, we never hit each other either.
And we were. I don't think we've had a physical altercation past the age of 10.
No.
Yeah, so it doesn't.
But
count.
I remember one of them because I refused to walk on the sidewalk in front of your house. I was walking over to Julie's house down the block, and when I got to your driveway, I went in the street. And I went to the Myers driveway to get back on the sidewalk.
Oh, because we were mad at each other?
I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to be near Mr. Perfect's house or some shit.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I yelled it at your house. I remember that.
Was I, like, did you see me?
No, I was
you
21. You had since moved out. No, we were kids. So, you were at home probably, but I don't think that
you didn't see me out there. You weren't yelling at me.
No,
Right.
no.
Okay. Wow. Never been hit or hit anybody.
Nope.
Interesting.
I've talked my way out of fights.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you.
People have started with me, and I've always been able to calm it down.
Ooh. See, you should be a world leader.
Because I can start talking like this, and I make brilliant sense. And now suddenly everybody who listens to this is pro-choice today.
Have you ever gotten drunk?
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. Have you ever wrecked a car?
What, today?
Wrecked a car.
Wrecked? I've been in car accidents, but never totaled a car. No.
Egged someone's house.
No.
It is so much fun. I did that. Oh, yeah, I've done that.
No.
Oh.
Let's go do that after.
Whose house would you egg?
I don't care. It's the first one we see.
Oh, yeah. I've probably done that more than I care to admit. In high school, of course, not lately.
Yeah.
Played Ding Dong Ditch.
What's that?
Ring and Run.
Oh, yeah.
We
did. Yeah.
Remember Mrs. Solomon
Mrs.
caught
Solomon
us.
came out. Yeah, we were like...
Yep. Well, we were
thought
so nailed.
Slick.
Have you ever been suspended?
Nope.
So I guess never been expelled.
No.
Pulled a fire alarm.
No.
Toilet papered someone's property.
I don't know.
Oh, that's even more fun. That is something I'll still do today. Oh, it's so much fun to toilet paper someone's car or their house. It's so much fun.
Oh, we did put sticky notes all over someone's car once.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
that's
kinda the
cool.
same thing,
That counts.
yeah.
Someone did that out here recently.
Yeah.
That was cool. Have you ever stolen something?
Well, I stole a crayon once when I was a little kid. But no, nothing that like anybody would report or.
What is gotten? Oh, it must be. It says ticked, but I think it's supposed to say a ticket. It says, "Have you ever gotten a ticket?"
Have I ever gotten a ticket?
Yes.
Yes.
Have you ever drag raced?
No.
Gotten a felony?
No.
Have you ever graffitied something?
No.
Really?
Jesus, I've never done anything.
Yeah, I know. You're boring. Have you ever been kicked out of class?
Kicked out? No.
Well, not. I don't know if this means permanently or just for the day. But you've neither? Wow.
There was one time that I got called down to the principal's office, and I will never forget this. This is the most trouble I ever was in school. You want to hear this story? This is pathetic. This is like, dude, I was a goody two-shoes.
I know. I just looked at this list.
Do you remember Drew Donohue?
I do remember Drew Donohue.
So Drew Donohue was on the same bus as me. My last name is Donohue.
We didn't like him, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
I don't know why.
Blonde-haired kid.
I don't know.
I do remember.
I would not know. I would not remember him at all if his name wasn't Donohue, right? But he spelled it differently. I'm Donohue. He was Donahue.
Oh, that's why he
Right?
sucks.
He was on my bus. And he was getting into something with some other kid on the bus one day. And the bus driver is like, I'm not moving this bus until you're quiet and blah, 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 right? So finally, he just comes to, we're still in the parking lot at school. And he won't leave until the kids settle down. And Drew and this other kid are just bickering. I don't think they were hitting each other or anything, but they're bickering. And the bus driver comes to the back. And now he's standing like right next to me, yelling at Drew and this other kid behind me. He's like, what's your name? Right? And he says Drew Donohue, right? He's like writing it down. And I don't know why I thought this was important to say. But I said, he spells it with an A. It's D-O-N-A, not D-O-N-O, because that's how I spell it, right? I don't know why I thought that. Anyway, he says, what's your name? And he wrote my name down too. Now all three of us had to go to the principal's office. So we're in the principal's office now, and Sister Eileen, the principal, this was Catholic school, has us lined up, and she's like yelling at this one and yelling at this one, and she gets to me and she goes, "What are you doing here?"
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Now there is one thing I did, and I didn't get caught. And I'll tell you this story because I wasn't a total goody two shoes. Andy Kohlmeyer, you remember him?
I know
and
Andy.
Kevin Magnuson.
I remember Kevin.
Right, yes.
He lives in Hawaii.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, your son can go visit him. And, we were in class together, and they were on opposite sides of the room. You know, the room was in rows. One was in row one was in row like 6 or 7, whatever. And they had their pens or a straw or something, and they were making little spitballs and
Yep.
doing spitballs across the room at each other, right? Now, I'm like a seat or two behind them in the middle, and I thought this was great. And the teacher is completely clueless, just doing shit on the board, or has a back to everybody. I start doing it, right? They're doing it like nuts. I start doing it. And now the three of us are doing this. And then do you remember Jimmy Coble? I don't know if you knew him.
No.
He's not a Hicksville kid.
Yeah, I don't remember
but
that
he
name.
went to school with us. Anyway, he's a couple seats ahead of me in my row, but in the middle. And he gets hit with one. And so he does one back at Andy or Kevin or whatever. And just as he's doing it, the teacher turns around. I have my pen down. I'm sitting like this, right? Andy and Kevin are like, right? And James goes, and she sees this, and she sees all three of them, and brings them out in the hallway, and they each had to make 1,000 spitballs and bring them into school the next day. And I sat there like this whole time going,
Holy crap.
I'm not saying a fucking word, right? And I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing I felt bad that they had to do that.
Oh, I wouldn't feel bad.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, that's what I've done. What else? Kicked out of class. Wait, I didn't know you get money. I would have said yes to everything.
I'm not for
Right,
me.
I have smoked weed.
Yeah, that was like the only thing you said yes to. Streaking and skinny dip, you're like, I think so. I
Well-
remember if I did those things, and I have.
Well, not like fun skinny dipping, like me and a bunch of girls, just
Like going for a swim naked?
I don't know.
We don't care about
yeah,
that.
No, it wasn't. I've never been skinny dipping.
Oh, that's
I don't know.
awful.
Yeah, well, I've had sex, so that's better.
Well, I'm glad you
That's
remember.
not on the list.
I'm glad you remember that. I don't know if Laura. I don't know if Laura remembers.
I remember that. Yeah, been expensive. Pulled a fire alarm. No.
No, I've never done that.
Yeah.
Well, but out of these 20, I've done 15.
Really?
Yes, and so I'm feeling a little weird right now.
And the funny thing is, you've probably never smoked weed, or maybe once.
Once.
Yeah.
Once for recreational, once for medical. So twice actually.
Okay.
And the one time I did it
What did you
recreational,
not do?
it didn't do a thing. I didn't.
You don't
I've
have a felony.
I've never popped pills.
Yeah. Do you have a felony?
A felony? No.
No. Have you been arrested?
No. I came close once.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were up in Lake George, and the main strip of Lake George to get to town or to the hotels, whatever. It's all just one lane each way. So a dog had gotten loose. Somebody, this little tiny thing, and he's running in the street. So both sides, all traffic is stopped because this little dog is running through the streets. So, and there was a bunch of us that went. It had to be like at least 10 of us. I think it was more than that. But some of them start getting out of their cars. And we're like, all right, I guess we're getting out of our car too. We're going to help. So we're all trying to catch this dog. Lisa catches the dog. The dog bites her. Lisa was pregnant with Sammy. So I'm like, screw this. You're going to the hospital. We need to know if this dog has rabies. Sorry to the owner, because I don't know if that's still the case, but back then I think you had to kill a dog to find if it had rabies. But sorry, my pregnant wife meant more to me than whoever this dog is. There was a woman that owned the hotel in front of this, where this was happening.
My dog, my choice, though, buddy.
My dog, my choice. That's fantastic. Somehow this woman, she ends up getting the dog, takes the dog, and hides the dog. She doesn't want this dog, to get killed, to get tested. So I go to the hotel. She's now in her office, right? And I get into her office, and she's sitting there. I'll never forget it. She's eating a bowl of kiwi, and she's getting dressing like all over her face as she's eating. And I'm like, excuse me, I said, I understand how you feel, but my wife is pregnant.
What do you mean a bowl of kiwi?
Just like a little bowl.
The fruit?
Yeah. And there was salad and stuff in it too. Okay. And, who knows what else. But she was making a mess. Like she had salad dressing all over her face, and she's just looking at me. You would think like she was deaf or she didn't speak the language. She just had this I don't care attitude. So I was getting pumped up because she really, she wasn't even talking. She was just sitting there staring at me. I'm like, you freaking bitch. So, but I was fine. I'm being cordial. I'm being polite. And I said, but please tell me where this dog is. I need to take this dog to the authorities. She wouldn't say anything. So her phone rings. She puts the kiwi down. She doesn't even wipe her face. She's still talking. My wife and her friend, they're outside the hotel. They're still making a stir. They're yelling at somebody, whoever. So somebody, I don't know who was calling her, but she says, well, I don't want to see this dog get hurt. So now I'm pissed because now
she's just some person. She's not the dog's owner.
She's not the dog owner. She owns this hotel where this happened in front of.
Okay.
So she took it upon herself to take the dog.
I wasn't listening to the first half of your story, so I'm trying to get caught up here.
So I go out. So now I'm mad. So I just storm out of the office. She has other family outside, like her whole family works at this hotel, and she had these two sons of hers are outside fighting, yelling at my wife.
Yeah.
They're trying to explain why, they need this dog. And so I walk out to them like, you guys, now I'm joining the argument. Hand over the damn dog. What is wrong with you people? Can't you see? She's pregnant, and we're not getting anywhere. But I'm worried too. Like she's got to get tested. I'm worried about her and the baby.
Sure.
So I am. I'm getting worked up. And one of the sons, just out of nowhere, he gets right into my face. You better get the fuck out of here, like that. And that was it. I lost it. This hotel, like, you had to go down this long hill of a driveway to get to it. It took 3 guys to pull me up this hill to get me away from this guy. I don't think I've ever been that mad in my life. Mm-hmm. I would have at least attempted to hurt this man. I was livid. So we go up and they calm me down. So at this point, I'm just taking my wife to the hospital. We find whatever hospital's up there. We drive.
And this is when you went skinny dipping?
Yes. My wife is in the hospital. This is my perfect opportunity.
Right.
So I'm at the hospital, and Sheriff Andy Griffith, whatever hillbilly, calls the hospital. So there's a woman behind the desk. She goes, Mr. Walker, there's a phone call for you. Like, what? Who's calling me in the hospital? Mr. Walker? Yes, this is Sheriff Lobo here from, he covers, probably half of upstate.
Right.
But he covers Lake George. I understand you threatened, Billy Bob over there at, Schmuck's Hotel. We don't do things like that around here. I'm like, so I explained what happened. He goes, doesn't matter, sir. We don't take lightly to threats around here. And I argued with him. And he finally said to me, he goes, if you could either apologize to the man, or you can, or I can come visit you at the hospital and probably take you in. I said, I'm not going to apologize to the man. I said, I'll apologize to you for causing all this trouble. I said, but if you want to come take me in, you come take me in. I mean, and that is one of those moments where, as you're saying, you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm talking this way. Like, who the hell am I? You're probably shitting my pants, and I am going to get arrested. And he just said, all right, you do what you got to do. I'll do what I got to do. And he hung up. Never saw him. He never showed up. Eventually, somebody found the owners somehow. Turns out they're from Queens.
Yeah.
So they called me. Somebody gave them my phone number at home. So they called me. I talked to them for a few minutes. They assured me this dog had, all the proper shots and stuff. And then I even gave them my address. And they sent me a copy of proof that he had his shots, and they sent me money to cover Lisa's medical bills. Oh. So it worked out. But that was the closest I've ever been to arrested. That was a long story.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I thought it was going to be the fight, but
the fight. I've been in plenty of fights.
Yeah.
In fact, been suspended. Fist fight. In fact, I just talked about it on the show last week.
I think same day.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, one of the fights I've had.
Yeah.
My buddy Jeff, who I think you met, he's a Hicksville guy. He's got the small fingers.
Yeah.
It was 10th.
We went to the Ducks game.
That's it. Yes. We were in 10th grade, and somebody made fun of him about it. And Jeff was my buddy then. He's still a close friend, and I don't know what it was. It just struck me, I saw the whole thing. This guy completely did it out of nowhere. He just went right up to him out of the blue and just said, "Yeah, I got all my fingers."
Jeez.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it just sparked me. And I freaking tackled him. We ended up rolling out of the classroom into the hallway, where I punched him maybe 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
Which, that was it. I got up and went back into class, but somehow it got to the dean, who then came to get me. And this guy, Mr. Petrelli, Al Petrelli. Ever hear of Al Petrelli, the guitar player? It's his father. Al Petrelli, he's played with Zappa. He played with Trans-Siberian Orchestra. It's his father. This was the first time I ever met the man, but we ended up becoming friendly after this, but he's now dead. But he came down on me he's dead. He's dead. You would think that, you think I was in trouble every day the way he came down on me. And he gave me 1 day in-school suspension. So then my mother called to try to, basically with the same attitude, like, hey, he's not in trouble that much. He's never been suspended. And he went off on her too. Your son's a wise ass, and he's trouble, and he does this and that. And she's like they kind of, yeah, it was weird.
Who was our principal at Dutch Lane when we were little kids?
Mr. Wordy.
Wordy. That I was thinking Werner.
That drunken.
He was drunk, right?
He was always drunk.
Yeah,
that son
okay.
of it. And then I think he died from bladder cancer or
Did
liver
he?
cancer or something. Yeah.
He came up to me one day in the cafeteria. Now I'm like in 2nd or 3rd grade.
Right, because you left after 3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me, goody two shoes, right? And he comes up to me and he just rips into me. I mean, like, my father never yelled at me like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, you are such a this and a that and a troublemaker and a blah, 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 blah. And I remember at first I was just so scared, you know? But then it started to dawn on me, you're talking to the wrong kid, dude. Like, this clearly is not meant for me. And that was it. And then he just walked away. That was my one and only interaction with him.
You never told him you had the wrong kid?
What was I going to say?
I would have said you have the wrong kid.
I don't think you, but I don't know. Maybe I did, but I don't know.
I was one of those that always talked back, especially if I
The
believed.
only memory I have of it is looking up at him, yelling at me going, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah.
You know, I remember being scared at first, but I don't remember it being a scary thing that I carried with me. I just remember being weird. Like, that's weird. You're weird.
He
And
was a
years later,
miserable
you told
son
me
of a
he was
bitch.
drunk, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. He was an ass. Couldn't stand Mr. Wordy. All right, with that, there you go. Childhood memories with me and Bobby.
Yeah.
Thanks, pal. This was fun.
This was
and I
fun.
enjoyed the. I enjoyed the interesting conversation. And I think, a lot of participation. And from there, have you ever smoked pills?
Wow, he's cool. Look at his. Look how many. He's really trying for it.
I thought Ding Dong Ditch was I banged her and then I left. I was never late for class. The bell just rang before I got there. Killing a dog for rabies back then, maybe. Now I think they're just sold to Chinese restaurants. Yeah. So, all right, we're out of here. Tomorrow's Veterans Day, so we'll be here with my favorite veteran, Andy Plajanos. Will be with us here. Mo Meltz, I believe, is coming back. And that's it. So tonight is Thursday. Nothing on the YouTube channel tonight. So we're back here tomorrow at 11. Don Sill, Donversations, is on the YouTube channel tomorrow night. And that's it. Thank you, pal. Was there anything I missed? Anything you wanted to, like, did you want to do anything with the cartoon or anything?
No. Is anybody listening a teacher?
Uh,
PlanetBonehead.com. It's free for teachers.
There you go.
If you want to teach kids about science and the environment and vaccines.
You just have to come back and...
Not vaccines.
Yeah, right. Imagine we do an episode.
Yeah.
You just have to come back and talk about that some more.
Yeah, all right.
All right. This was fun. Thank you, pal.
Thank you.
All right. We'll enjoy the rest of your Thursday, everybody. And we will see you tomorrow at 11. See ya.